Good morning, everybody. We're back out here on the big pond, big lake project. You can see the dam up there. It's done and dusted, topsoil. We just got to get an overflow put in it. But we're up here in the head section now. We've got a little bit of cleaning up to do up here in the head section. Got to dig it out deeper. This material, it packed really hard in the bottom of this pond, but I wasn't very keen on using it because it was a little too sandy, in my opinion. And my opinion is really the only one that matters when I'm building this lake. So that's kind of where we're at. We didn't use any of this dirt in the dam. One, it was too far to push it down there to face the slope, face the dam with. And two, it was just way too sandy. I wasn't comfortable using it. You guys can see it looks decent on camera, but it's not. It's very sandy. That's one of the first things I did when I got to this project was I started punching test holes in the bottom of this pond, seeing if we could use the pond, because it's always better to knock out two birds with one stone and use the dirt in the pond that you got to dig out anyway to make the pond deeper. But there's some cases where you just can't. You gotta do the great dirt shuffle, as we call it. And that's another big reason why sometimes it's better to do it by the hour, because we ended up having to do a lot more work to get this guy the pond he wanted, and it wasn't our fault. It was just the circumstances that we were given and that he was given. The dirt that was down here wasn't good dirt, suitable to build a good pond dam with, or a good core trench with. And it was great to face the dam and build the back slope and everything, but that center core trench that's so important to get good compaction and good bonding clay. You can't cheap out on that. You gotta use good material, and if you don't, you're building this big old hole in the ground to basically just be a big hole in the ground. I mean, there's no guarantee that it'll even hold water, but you use the best material you got on site to give it the best chance of holding water, and that's just it. Just hoping I don't hit any rock here, digging this deeper. The customer wanted this head section deeper, so we're getting it deeper for him. It won't take long. It'll take 2 or 3 hours to dig all this out, get everything graded out, and then we're going to get on the smooth drum roller and roll the pond bottom in really, really well. Try to get everything compacted. May even take that truck and try to get everything good and compacted down in here in this bottom. Hope to just give it the best chance we can of holding water. Got these slopes in a little steeper. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I hate digging in the bottom of a pond with a track hoe, but sometimes it's just what you got to do. This one's a little tricky. I'm not going to really be able to cut this shoreline in all in one go like I normally would. We've got to basically we have to take this big hump down and then go up out of the pond and lower that down up above the pond, and then cut the slope in, because it's a weird angle the way everything's tying in. But we're not taking the dirt very far. We've got a big hole to fill in over there. but there's just a big hump right here, and we're trying to get him more, basically just trying to get him more pond bottom. You're back up on in there, Chief. He's so worried he's gonna tip over. It's so tough to tip one of them over. I mean, you got to be in a real bad. I say that he'll tip over right here. You got to be in a pretty bad spot. But that's all we're doing here is we're just gonna fill our hole in. He needs to put several loads right in there too. There's a big low spot. You guys can't see. I'm being a dummy, but he needs to put. There's a big low spot back there. He needs to put. We'll get it filled in, but this is what we got going on, guys. We're digging out a big old hump here for this guy. Trying not to dig too deep, honestly, because I know there's rock up the hill, way up the hill, and I just hate to find that rock, you know, further on down the hill, down this hole. So this is where it would be nice to have a bigger machine, but we ain't got one. So every time I watch Chris Let's Dig 18 in his 350 Volvo, I'm like, damn, I really need to buy me one of them. I wouldn't be able to buy a brand new one, but this dirt's just it's not good. And I'm not trying to win any beauty contests here with the way the cut looks. I'm hogging material. I'll come back in and clean it up with a bulldozer. This 323 does a good job. It moves quite a bit of dirt. Well, it's hard digging. I really think this pond's gonna haul water, guys. That is some hard stuff. Dang, water ain't gonna get down through there. It's real sandy, so that's my only concern. But that's why this dirt down here didn't get used. One, the topsoil was 4.5, 5 foot deep. Subsoil and topsoil, and then you got down to this sandy yellow. It's like a sandy yellow clay, and we had all that really good red, just nice red material up top. So I wasn't gonna take a chance on it. We just told the customer, like, look, we gotta get our dirt from up here. You know, this dirt down here in this pond bottom is not suitable for what we're trying to achieve here. For another one. See how sandy this is? mean, it smears good, and it's hard. You guys can see right there, look at that. See how it turns black? I mean, that water's not going to leak down through that, you know, so I feel real good about it. Like I said, it just wasn't that very adequate material to be trying to build a pond dam with, so I didn't use it. Alright folks, we are back. Got a little better setup now. Cut the truck out of a ramp below me, where I can get him below me when top loaded. It's a lot more efficient that way. We've got a bunch of material moved so far. The goal when you're setting up a cut is to always get your truck down below you as quick as you can, because it's just so much more efficient to load, you know, to load on it from a bench instead of trying to top load all the time. I'll explain here in a second why I'm loading it backwards. I gotta fix this. It's rocking around. Let me get him loaded and I'll explain why I'm loading him backwards. It's really wet down here in this bottom, and the truck's having a hard time getting around. The lockers aren't working right now. Pretty sure I drained one of the air tanks and there was a bunch of sludge in it, like mud, and I'd say the air compressor's getting worn because it's pushing oil through the compressor and into the lines. And I think I'd say what has happened is that spring, there's a spring inside of that, behind that cover plate that the airline goes into. It's basically a big air powered spring and a plunger that shoves that dog bone into the differential to lock it in. And I think what's happened is there's some gunk that's got that spring all binded up, so the lockers aren't working right now. So I'm loading him like this so he can back straight into the dump site and doesn't have to, because if he pulls down in here, or if he backs down in here, he's going to have to turn around up there, and he's got to pull up the hill to turn around. And it's just hard on the truck. It's pulling it hard, and it's, you know, he doesn't really ever end up getting where he needs to get. He just ends up spinning around. So I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. So since he's down here in the hole, he can back right out of the hole. He can back right up to where that hole we're filling in. And he doesn't have to, if he backed down in here, he'd have to pull up that hill and cut it real sharp to get around through there. Now he's got a straight shot right into where we're dumping. So before anybody in the comments fusses at me for loading the truck backwards, you can load. People say, oh, you shouldn't load over the cab. Well, if you put the truck right, you never swing the bucket over the cab. So, you know, that's so stupid. I hear people say that stupid crap all the time. Oh, you're loading over the cab, blah, blah, blah. No, if you fucking load it right, excuse my French, if you load it right, you'll never swing that bucket over the top of that cab. Period. That's just the long and the short of it, folks. If you're a competent excavator operator and you loading backwards, if you watch me, there's not one speck of dirt on the roof of that cab of that truck, because you let him get out there in front of you to about right there, and then when you're swinging, see, my bucket never even gets close to the roof of that cab. So this is just as efficient as loading it the other way. Only time I ever really make sure I'm loading over the back end of the truck is if I'm loading brush. Other than that, guys, it doesn't matter. I see people on TikTok. I just deleted TikTok a long time ago because it was a cesspool. But I see people in comments all the time saying, "Oh, you're loading the truck backwards. You shouldn't load over the cab." Blah blah blah. I'm just like, you're clearly an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about because it's perfectly fine to load this way. My bucket never even gets near the cab of that truck. And I'm going to do what's better for the truck. And keep him from having to cut the wheels real hard. And you want the path of least resistance for this truck to go. So when you're cutting and spinning and digging, all you're doing is wearing these $7,000 tires. And yes, these tires are $7,000 a piece. So, if you don't believe me, ask Chris. That's the 18. He's got a 30-ton truck, and yeah, he's got the float tires. So his are going to be a couple $1,000s more expensive than your standard tires, but I mean they're still probably $5,000, $6,000 a piece. Because these are bigger. These tires are bigger because this is a 35-ton truck. So I'm gonna take care of the truck. If I've got to load a little differently, that's fine. My goal is to take care of the truck. Old Brutus is a good one, but Brutus is old. He's got good bones, but he's old. So we got to take care of him. Try not to beat him up too bad. I just hope old Brutus keeps on chugging along. He blew a head gasket the other day. So inevitably, that's the second time this has happened. Our Band-Aid fix got us, it got us another year's worth out of him, but we're gonna keep running him until he starts losing coolant down into the pistons, and that's when it starts getting bad, when it starts white smoking and running bad. It's having to burn off that antifreeze. We're gonna have a pretty nice pond here. We've gained him another 4 or 5 foot of depth right here. It's deep down there. Heck, it's probably 16 feet. Water down there in that bottom. Scratch this. Sticking in the bed pretty good. Try not to beat the driver up too bad, but he's hauling a half a load around with him. Any of the morons that comment stupid stuff on my videos, comment on that saying I'm going to pull the park gear out of that truck. That truck doesn't have a park gear. It has a parking brake, and it's in neutral right now, so you're not hurting the transmission at all. So it's got basically a big disc brake that puts a brake on the drive line to keep it from rolling. So no, me me pull it on the truck backwards like that doesn't hurt it. If anything, it's gonna hurt the parking brake a little bit, but you ain't gonna hurt that parking brake. It's just an air-powered brake. It's just amazing to me. There's so many people on YouTube that know so much about what I do for a living every day, and they don't do it for a living. There's people out there that are arrogant enough to watch other people do this kind of work and think that they know, all of a sudden they know how to do it, and they're telling us how to do our job, and it's just find that extremely humoring, whatever word I'm looking for there. I get a lot of humor out of it. I just sit there and I'm like, you're really that arrogant that you're gonna sit there and comment on this video. I get a kick out of it. I read some of the bigger guys' comments sometimes, like Lex Dig and Dirt Perfect and those guys, and I'm just blown away. I'm like, these people are actually serious. They get a lot of really nice people that comment on their videos, but they get a lot of idiots too. Cracks me up. There's some really good clay right here. That's not a dug and this hole. The dirt changes. It's changed 4 times since I've been doing this. It's very strange. Right now, all I'm doing is just trying to get in more pond bottom. All right, folks, we're gonna keep hammering down here. I'll jump on the dozer here in a little while and get all this cleaned up. But I'm gonna get the rest of this pond bottom hogged out, and we're gonna keep on keeping on. Alrighty, folks, we have been getting after it. Truck's got a little dirt stuck in it, but we've got this whole section dug out where he's sitting. The lockers aren't working on the truck. We got a mechanic coming sometime next week, I think, to help me diagnose and figure out what's going on with the lockers. So we can't actually make that. Can't actually get up the hill like we need to. We were going to haul 10 or 12 loads of this up there to help fill in our borrow pit. We've got the dirt we need up there. We just got to lay down the slopes around it and to make it work, which will be fine. But we've got so much excess dirt down here. We were just going to try to haul some up there, but ended up not working out. The lockers on this truck they're air powered, and they're not getting enough air to push that spring has to be getting so many psi of air to push that dog bone into that differential to lock it in, and it's just not getting enough air. So when you engage it, you can hear it hitting the teeth on the differential as you're driving, trying to use the lockers. So that's really bad for the lockers and really bad for that differential and that dog bone, that whole assembly. So we just have the lockers completely turned off. We're not trying to use them anymore until we get that fixed, because that can be a very, very expensive repair if you break something off inside the differential and that tooth starts chewing it. That broken piece of metal starts getting chewed up in there. That's a bad deal. So we're just gonna stay down here with the dirt, make it work up top. That's really the only choice we have. We put dirt on the road and compacted it in, and it still just still won't climb out of here. So we're just having to make do with what we've got. Which is fine, it's not a huge deal. Trying to make this a little deeper. This stuff's hard to cut with a bulldozer, it's so hard. Shouldn't have any leaks in this area of the pond. We probably could have got away with using this material, but that material up top was just so much better, so I didn't see any point in using, you know, borderline material when we had, you know, a sure thing up top. So plus there's like 4 feet of topsoil on top of this stuff here, so it's not really the greatest thing to do. I'm trying to get myself leveled up here. Try not to flip over this bank. I'm just cutting in this slope as I go. I'll have to take and shave off this top layer here because the water level's going down, which isn't the end of the world, but I just couldn't shoot the water line the way I wanted to, just because of the way the ground was laying. And I'm roughing my slope in with a track hoe, you know, taking as much of the cutting out as possible. That way the dozer doesn't have a ton to try to cut. 'Cause it's hard to cut a slope in with a bulldozer when it's real steep, like I'm making this one. The steeper you can make pond slopes, the better, because that stuff, all that, you know, cattails and you know, lilies and all that bull crap, it won't grow on a 2-to-1 slope. It just helps keep the edge of your pond a lot cleaner. I don't know what he's going to do about that side over there. That's just a rock, you know. There's about halfway up where he's wanting to make that, you know, to soften that slope. It's just rock, you know. There's not, I don't know, but I don't know how to soften that slope. I know why he wants it done, because and I agree, it's gonna be a bit of a chore to maintain that, because it's so steep. What the world's in the ground here? Stomp. But while I'm sitting up here, I'm gonna go ahead and shave off a lot of this top area. I'm gonna have to get a nice clean reveal at the water line. I hate to do it, but we'll be able to get the good clean reveal of the water line like I always want. The water line's going to be somewhere down here, right here at this pass where I'm digging. So I just want to get a come out of there. Big old root ball. So I just want to make sure I get a good clean reveal. In my opinion, that's what makes or breaks a pond when you're building a pond is, you know, how clean your edges are. When you've got good clean edges, I just think it makes your pond look so much better. So when you've got they look like crap, you know, and you've got 3 foot of just you know, you can't maintain it. You got to go down there with a weed eater, try to weed eat it all down. I think that's not a good. That's not a good pond. That's just a maintenance hazard. Not a hazard, but just a maintenance nightmare. Oh man. All right, guys, we're gonna get this slope cut in. I'll get a little bit of video running the dozer, and that'll probably wrap this video up. Well, folks, we put it in there today. I've got these slopes roughed in with a track hoe. We could barely got the back dump up out of the. Boy, that right there we could have built a pond out of that. Pond dam out of that probably. We just barely got old Brutus up the hill. There's groundwater coming out of the ground up there. I guess there's a sheet of rock up there on top where our borrow pit is. And it is wet, guys, and I'm talking about wet. But I've got a lot of cleaning up to do down here. We've got all our spoils from the pond, all this nasty stuff. See if I can get across these without dying. But here's kind of what we got. We got a lot of cleaning up to do. Find this shoreline, flag it out, get it cut in with a dozer. So I got to get to work, folks. I'll get a little bit of video here, but I've got to get this done. Rain's coming. All right, folks, we got quite the mess to clean up, so y'all sit back and enjoy. Go ahead and shave this down because I already know that it's going to have to come down to make this shoreline work. We'll get her shaved. Come on, baby. I'm just going to push all this dirt up here out of the pond, out of the way. Oh, there was a stump there. Okay, that's what I got hung on. Couldn't figure out for the life of me why I couldn't push that. Now it all makes sense. This here is water level is going to be somewhere kind of maybe in the middle of the blade right now. So I've got to cut this top down where there's a nice, you know, maintainable edge where it's not super steep, you know, down to the water. You gotta be able to maintain your water edge, and that's the biggest thing about building ponds. Is people build these ponds, they don't maintain their water edge. They end up, in my opinion, just making a daggum mess. Hang on, guys, I'm getting a phone call. Alright, let's try that. Now, maybe you guys can see what in the hell? What the world's going on here? Why is this broken? I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what in the world's going on with this mount. All right, let's see if it'll stay there. Trying to get the camera on the right side of the machine so you guys can see what's going on. And the mount started flopping over. I don't know what the world is going on with it. I'm gonna kind of rough this shoreline in a little bit and try to fill all these ruts in with this dirt, this nasty dirt, and then I gotta shoot some grade and kind of figure out how the shoreline's gonna lay in here. I've got a pretty good idea of how it's gonna lay in here, but like I said, it's hard to tell. This grade on this pond is a bit of an optical illusion, so it's been tricking me a little bit. This looks nice and steep. It's probably a 2.5 to 1. I don't think it's quite a 2 to 1 yet. I'd say it's getting close. Biggest thing right now is drainage, guys. We gotta make sure everything drains right. Push that ramp. Been leaving that ramp in there for the truck and everything to get in and out of, so I'll have to push it out of there when I get done. That's what I'm gonna do. Man, this material is hard. Well, at least you guys haven't fell yet. I don't think that's rock. It's not. It's just really, really hard. Really hard clay. Get down here in the bottom of the pond and push some of this up out of the way. They ain't gonna have any leaks down here, folks. back dump, and it was barely leaving a tire print. I'm pretty sure I needed to add more dirt right here anyway. I think this was a low area. I'll build it here in just a minute when I shoot some grade. I'll build the top of my slope to get a good clean reveal around through there. Oh yeah, this stuff is just phenomenal. And I was right about, I think it was this, I don't know if it was this video or last video, but I said there's either a solid sheet of rock underneath all this wet dirt, or a very hard band, big thick hard band. And it was a hard band. Guys, let me tell you, it is unbelievable. It is very, very hard. Right now what I'm doing is kind of cheating a little bit. Taking this dirt, raising the top edge of the pond up. That way the water gets up here high enough, you know, and it has a good, clean, pretty reveal. I'm just having a hard time pushing this stuff up out of the pond. It's so hard. I knew I was going to regret leaving this ramp like this. So hard. I mean, it was hard. It was pretty difficult for the track hoe to do. That's when I knew. I was like, man, this stuff here this stuff ain't no joke. All right, guys, I'm gonna put you on a little time lapse here, and I'm gonna hammer down and try to get this stuff cleaned up. Alright folks, we have been plowed out, getting after it. It's about to get dark here in another 20 minutes. If you guys remember, this is where we dumped all these piles all day long. This is why we dumped them. There's two sinkholes up here that all of this water runs in and never gets to the pond. A lot of the runoff goes right in these sinkholes. I don't think we have that dirt. Man, we're almost there. We're right there. But I don't think we're going to have enough dirt to fill them in. We're going to have to rob some dirt from somewhere and drive the back dump up in here and dump them off in here. We're trying to get this hole filled in. We got big rain coming tomorrow, so we're getting after it. The goal is to get this water to sheet right across the top of this sinkhole. It'll drain down through here and get into the pond. Like I said, we didn't make it. We ran out of dirt. We're gonna have to. Oh, we're gonna rob the dirt from the big, to be honest with you. but we had to fill in a hell of a hole here, so we might have enough. I don't know. He's still sitting on quite a bit. I'll get pushed up here too. I'm gonna shoot this, but it's probably 200 feet. Need at least, at least 3% of fall. At least on dirt. I wish it'd be nice if we were piping it down here, but that costs a ton of money. And I'm just about out of deck on fuel. And no trees. That's what we're over. We're not going to be that bad off. We still got our sinkhole up there, so we're not going to dam up a bunch of water until we can get this fixed. We're going to need 8 or 10 more loads of dirt to bridge across this sinkhole. That's fine. We could actually steal dirt from there. Just dig out up there. Get that sinkhole. I know you're tired, we're almost there. go. I know you want to go drink beer. It's thirsty. You know? I don't know. It's just it's a weird dynamic for sure. I hope I don't run out of fuel. I'm trying to lift that damn hill. I feel like it's on for hell an hour. Just trying to get this whipped off. The more I run over this stuff, the less water it's going to take. Couple more passes here, and I'm going to call this good. Leave this burned up. That way, otherwise somebody comes driving down through, they don't drive off in that thing. Alright guys, I'm going to get an outro clip here. I'll turn this off. We'll go get some fuel and I'm going to close this video out. Well, good morning guys. It's me from the previous day. It was pitch dark when I got done last night, so I didn't get a chance to close the video out. But if you remember, I came down the hill and was like, boys, I got quite the mess to clean up here. So I flat out got after it yesterday evening. Got all the slopes cut in. I've got to fix that slope there. I didn't get time to fix it. I'm gonna fix it this morning. Biggest thing was trying to get all that dirt leveled out where that would drain down through here. It's still not going to because we're about 10 loads short of covering those sinkholes up. They're not part of the pond up there, but the goal is to fill over the top of them with clay and kind of bridge over them. That way the water will sheet across it from that spring up there and flow down here and get into the pond. We're gonna have to watch this and see how this does down here. I'm thinking it's gonna wash, but the customer doesn't really want to fool with that just yet. So not really sure what we're gonna do there. We're probably just gonna blade this off one more time, get it all rolled in with a roller where it won't wash so bad, and that's all I really know, guys. But we made a heck of a progress on the pond. Got it done, got all the tree trunks and fish habitat in there. Just built them some places to hide and get under. Fish love that kind of stuff. We actually have 3 or 4 big stumps up there that we need to haul down and throw down in the pond. But yeah, guys, this is me wrapping up last night's video. I just didn't get a chance to do it because it was dark and you guys couldn't see anything on camera. But I'm gonna get down here and get the grading again, get all this cleaned up best I can, try to get it rolled in. It's supposed to rain here in about 2 hours, so we're gonna work as long as we can. But I appreciate everybody watching, all the new subscribers and everybody liking the videos and commenting. I can't thank you guys enough. If you've made it this far and you're not already subscribed, please feel free to do so and drop a like down on the video. It helps me out a ton, and it just helps me grow the channel and helps the video kind of get out there into that algorithm. So anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody, and I hope you all have a good Merry Christmas if I don't see you again. I've got a couple more videos that are going to come out, but probably after today it's going to be too wet to be working for a while, so may not have any videos to post for a while. But as soon as we get back to work, I'll be posting more videos, guys. Appreciate you.